Hey guys, welcome back. I am going off to my next trip soon. I remembered the microphone this time, and I will be going to Seattle, Washington. So, up to the Pacific Northwest. I'm going with my family. It's going to be the first time I'm going ever, so I'm excited to check it out. And we might even make a quick trip to Vancouver, Canada. So, come along. Of course, I'm going to show you everything and all the good food, and I'm excited to experience the Pacific Northwest. This was the Airbnb we stayed at. It was in Edmonds, Washington, which is about 30 minutes north of Seattle, and it was the best one we could find to fit our family of 5. And just look at this garden. It was gorgeous, and it was about the same size as the actual home itself. My mom would come out here every single morning to paint and enjoy her coffee, but I always slept in pretty late, so I did not enjoy the garden as much as I could have. And here she is painting, so she would make one of these every single morning, which is really impressive. We made it to downtown Seattle, and we're gonna go check out the Pike Place Market. Fun tip is park in the Target parking lot. You get your first hour free, and then you pay after that, and it's pretty cheap compared to the other spots. So it's a beautiful day. It's only like 70 degrees out, and it's gonna be a great day. Our first stop is Pike Place Market, and as you can see here, it was extremely crowded. It was probably a mixture of the holiday weekend and really good weather, but it made for a crowded experience. But my family still enjoyed it, and we just had a really fun time walking around and exploring the different food vendors. We just got a seat at Pike Place. Really busy today. Obviously Saturday morning, the weather's great, but there are some tables behind the marketplace. Also, I want to say, if you want your chowder, you should definitely order online because you could skip the line by a lot. Okay, so we got the clam chowder, we got features, and we got pierogi, and then Rachel's ginger beer. Sorry, I forgot to show any of the food. But I would say of the lines, the clam chowder and the ginger beer are probably the most worth it. Pierogi wasn't really our flavor profile. It was just like meat and potatoes, but not creamy. And then the grilled cheese, they were good, but it was just normal grilled cheese, and it was like a 30-minute wait. So I would say, for all of you know who like my rating system, the clam chowder was a 10 out of 10. Everything else was a 5 or 6 out of 10.
The ginger beer was like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the ginger beer was like a 9 out of 10. It was a little sharp.
Then maybe you didn't get the right flavor.
But the worst part, not the worst part, but the hardest part is finding a table out here. That is like Hunger Games battle.
But we succeeded, and we got this nice view.
After lunch, we went to check out Discovery Park and looked at the Lawton Park overlook. We didn't do much in the park, so we had some extra time and went to explore the town of Ballard before dinner. And for dinner, we went to a really nice Cajun spot called Toulouse, and we all had a nice celebratory dinner to kickstart off our vacation. And finally, we ended our night at Kerry Park for sunset. And honestly, this was one of the highlights of my trip because Kerry Park was just such a beautiful spot that had a really unique angle of Seattle, and I really enjoyed seeing sunset here. Hello, we're now on the line to get on the Bainbridge ferry to Bainbridge Island. really nice today.
We hopefully can make it onto the 11:25 ferry rather than waiting another hour to get on the 12:30 ferry. Hopefully.
And how much were the tickets? It was
$50 for this whole car.
It was $20 for the car and then $10 per additional passenger. So that's how much it is.
Eating clam chowder while we're waiting for the ferry.
This is the Ivan's that I just got. And that's the red one. It's good. 9 out of 10. Just as good as yesterday's, basically.
Alright, we're finally on the ferry after waiting for an hour.
Yeah, 12:52. So it's about 30 minutes after they say the ferry leaves, I think.
Oh, look.
Yeah, but it's really nice. You guys, this ferry ride was absolutely stunning. We got views of Seattle, the harbor, mountains, and boats all across the water. So it was really neat and worth the trip just for itself. And this is Bainbridge Island. Don't those houses look so nice? I didn't get much footage of us actually exploring the town because we had time tickets at the Blowdell Reserve. Welcome to the Blowdell Reserve. It's $25 a person and it's a 2-mile loop through private grounds, and we'll take you along the scenery. But so far it's really peaceful, quiet, and there's really not much else to do on Bainbridge Island. So what else are you gonna do anyway? So it's just a trail through forests, meadows, and I think we'll get to a bluff at one point, but it is all open all 4 seasons, and it's really well maintained actually. My dad is walking fine with a cane. My overall take about the Blowdell Reserve is that it was a little underwhelming, to be honest. For about $25 a person, I expected a little bit more than just paths through a park. It honestly felt like free parks you could have found in San Francisco or other major cities I've been to. Overall, at $25 a person, it's pretty pricey for a family. And a really cool sight we saw on our way back was the U.S. Naval aircraft carrier in front of Seattle, the city. So it was a really neat viewpoint. One last tip, don't forget to bring your jackets. Even though it was around 75 degrees for us, it's really cold on the water. So now we're in Tai Fung. It is a specialty mainly on the West Coast. I mean, it's from Taiwan, but like it's really gotten popular because it's in the West Coast now. So I've gone on a few times in California, and this is the first time in Seattle. I've actually gone to the original location if you watch my China video. And we'll show you what we get. But this is in a mall, downtown Seattle, pretty close to where the ferry drops off. All right.
I feel like most people know what Ding Tai Fung is.
Probably. One of my favorite dishes is their smashed cucumber, but their highlight is their xiaolong baos, which are a delicacy. Okay, so what you do first is you bite one side of it, and you let the steam escape, and you dip it, and then you eat it. Good morning from Capitol Hill. We're gonna go check out the Starbucks Reserve this morning and see what the hype is about. The line seems pretty long, so we'll let you know. So I knew the line wasn't going to be worth it when a local came up to us and asked me, "What's the event going on inside?" And I go, "Nothing. I think we're just here to see the store." So that's when I knew this was crazy. But still, it was really neat experience seeing the space and all the machinery used to roast the beans, and just something you wouldn't see at your local Starbucks. All right, so here we right here we have a Oleato cold brew. Here we have a affogato. And then cold brew. Yeah, it's a cold brew trio. So that was really cool. And we have a prosciutto sandwich, a tart, and some pizza. Another savage fight for a table.
I do feel caffeinated though after a cold brew flight.
It was good, but just don't go during peak hours.
It's like the Hunger Games for the table and for any sustenance.
And here we are at Seattle's most famous landmark, the Space Needle. We actually decided not to go up the Space Needle and instead went to the Chihuly Museum, which was right next door. I thought this was a really neat museum. I had never seen art like this with all of his glass sculptures, and I thought it was really beautiful and very memorable. So I definitely recommend it, but again, a little pricey at $35 a ticket. And keep in mind, it's pretty small, so we finished in about an hour. And then my mom really wanted to go to Amazon's headquarters and get a free banana. So here you are. They give free bananas, everybody. I did not know that. We are now at Gasworks, which is a free park. And it seems like there's a event. Like it looks like a wedding, but we think it's too many people. So maybe it's some sort of 4th of July celebration. And for dinner, we went to Ivar's Salmon House. And yes, this is the same Ivar's that I had gotten the clam chowder from previously while we were waiting for the ferry. I really love that clam chowder and vouch for us to go back here for dinner. Overall, the food was pretty decent, but nothing to write home about. It was a great place to get all kinds of seafood and that clam chowder. But yeah, it was great ambiance and really big restaurant with beautiful views. And to end our night, we made a stop at the Edmonds Pier, where we got to watch all the locals come out to crab and fish. We're on our last day in Seattle, and there's not much left to do, so we came to the botanical gardens. But as you can see, it's just the trail.
It's not the botanical garden, it's the Washington Arboretum.
Well, it's July 4th too.
Yep.
Happy July 4th, and for lunch we have Japanese food and sushi.
Last meal in Seattle.
We're in University Village.
Hamachi, spicy edamame, Cheeto peppers, and whatnot.
After lunch, we dropped my sister and her husband off at the airport and made our way to Canada. It's about a 2.5-hour drive north from Seattle to the Vancouver border crossing, and the day we went, it was actually really quick. It probably took us 3 minutes from the beginning of the border crossing all the way through the other side. We made it to Vancouver, and our first stop is a Chinese restaurant. We're in the town of Surrey, which is on the border, and it's pretty busy. My family really loves spicy Sichuan flavors, so whenever we get the opportunity, we always love trying out a new restaurant, and this one was pretty good. For our morning in Vancouver, we went to Gastown. And I've been to Gastown before, and I will say the downtown area of Vancouver has gotten a lot sketchier since the pandemic, probably. There were just streets and streets of homeless people doing drugs, and it was pretty jarring. And no trip to Vancouver would be complete without some dim sum. All right, we're at our last site in Vancouver, and my mom really wanted to go to this park, not Stanley Park, but this park called the Queen Elizabeth Park. And I've never heard of it, but it's free. There's plenty of parking, and I'll show you the views we get to see from here. The park was pretty nice. It had a viewpoint of downtown Vancouver and just a lot of sprawling space of flowers and rivers and different trees and sculptures. So overall, just a nice, quaint garden to spend your afternoon in. According to my parents, this was a very nice park and much more worth it than the Blodell Reserve in Bainbridge Island, mainly because it was free. But the ironic thing is that bubble behind me is also called Blodell Conservatory. So I think it's all part of the same family. It is also very, very hot. I think Seattle is going through a heat wave right now, and man, it feels like I'm on the East Coast. And finally, my mom wanted to spend the last few hours in Canada at a Chinese mall. So we went to one in Richmond, BC, and just all the stores were from China, and it basically felt like you were in China. But me and my dad just spent our time doing these massage chairs instead of shopping. The border crossing took about 45 minutes on the way back into the US, and you can get out and take some photos. And that's it for my trip to Seattle. Thanks, guys. See you next time.